asked was, did the driver survive? And they all said yes. I could tell the airbags were deployed, the door airbags, the steering wheel airbags, they were all deployed in that vehicle. The fellow survived, which is good. But this is where our conversation is hinged on. This is where this question is hinged on. Because you see, that car, those of you who have long memories, who were probably in Uniport at that time, you probably remember this. That car was there for another 2 or 3 days, if I'm not mistaken. Then the container itself was still on the road for another week or so. The same thing, something similar, happened here in Port Harcourt about 3 years ago. How many of you remember along the NTA road between location and where you have Mercyland Junction, right? Where a truck carrying tomato paste, tomato puree, I don't know if you remember that, tipped over. Then some of you ran shamelessly to steal the products of other people. We're carrying, packing it. Hey, it don't happen. 3 years ago. That container, that truck, the one that had the accident, was there for nearly 2 months, if not 3. What am I saying? Causing some form of traffic or the other when the heavy traffic periods would come on the day. My question this jolly morning is this, if we can call it jolly. Should you pay for private emergency responses? Because the private emergency numbers that we have, but let's start with Port Harcourt. There are a few of them. They're numerous. Call Port Harcourt. I call this as the GSM number is long. I don't even have it any longer. In fact, I didn't even bother researching the numbers because, like I said, it's too long. It's too long. Yes, it would be good that because of where we are, maybe you should save the number. But the point is, it shouldn't even be there in the first case. But that's one. The second one is, even if you do have a number and you call, there is no guarantee that they would come. There is none. Unfortunately, it's not like the person who has the ambulance or who has been given the charge to, maybe there's no fuel, or maybe he's on leave. He doesn't have anybody to respond. On that last mile, right? They've been doing a great job, but they still have restrictions. Now we are here sitting comfortably. We can talk about Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, and maybe Calabar. But what of people who are in Asaba? What of people who are in Oka? What of Nigerians who are in Jalingo? These places that where you have fire outbreaks, accidents, there's almost not. In fact, I have witnessed a road traffic accident and there was nothing anybody could do. We just stood there, people shouting, Jesus, Jesus, God. The Muslims were saying, lie, 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 all what we were all doing was praying. Praying for what? Praying for the persons in those vehicles to die a quick death. But if you had the money, would you pay? Would you subscribe to an emergency service? Your child is ill. Would you be willing to pay for a service where you can call and they come and take your child to the hospital? Or you have an accident like you have in parts of Europe and in the UK where you can call AA. Oh, your car broke down. You call a number, they come and get your car. As opposed to you trying to call Emeka, your mechanic. You call Emeka, Emeka is working on somebody's engine. He cannot leave. Emergency services, and the most common for us here in Port Harcourt, fire. Right? Rivers people have been complaining for the past 3 years in particular. Government build fire. They haven't done that at the jetties. They haven't done that. So, what if you were asked to subscribe to an emergency service? Would you? Should you?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, so let's talk for development. 017-923-0003, 0817923-0007, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0007. All right, WhatsApp and Telegram 08090306416, 08090306416. All right, that's where you find us, and you can send your messages and join us. All right, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. I'm asking you this morning, all right, when it comes to emergency services, yes, it's been very well documented. The government cannot, as it were, hide or pretend that this doesn't happen, whether it's at the federal and particularly here in River State at the state level, to pretend that, that they don't know that, they don't have enough fire trucks and whatnot. Because in River State in particular, most of the fire trucks that have come to respond to those cases were privately owned. So, should you pay for private emergency responses? That's my question this morning. All right, as always, turn down the volume of your radio set, refrain from making derogatory or defamatory comments, and very importantly, please keep your conversations clean. All right, let's have your conversation in a very good light, in a good manner, free of derogatory terms, and you want to swear, you want to cast aspersions. All right, thank you very much. All right, this one here says, Jude, good morning. When you were talking just now, my mind was beating in fear. What if anything happens to me or my family right now? Who would we call? The truth is, Jude, most Nigerians have nobody to call. This is a very, very sad conversation. I can't even begin to imagine what will happen. But here we are. If not for family or friends or neighbors or, in quotes, well-meaning Nigerians, many people would have lost their lives years ago. But Jude, how many people can afford this service, even if it was available in this country? Well, IB, that's the question I'm trying to find out from you this morning. Zion is in Jerry. Zion, good morning to you.
I will not pay. I won't pay. That is not my prerogative. To pay for emergency services, no, sir. Fire emergency, health emergency, accident emergency are the prerogative of the government, not you as an individual. Okay. The question is, who do you vote into office? It narrows down to your vote. When you vote in people that have the capacity, people who are dynamic in nature, they will provide these amenities in a twinkle of an eye. Do you know why there are no street traders in America, in Britain and other parts of the...
Well, there are street fairs, there are street trading in some places in UK.
No street fair, no street trading. Street fair is opened by the government of that locality. Street fair, where you can price things. Street trading, you don't get it there. You know why? There is a policy that says that any property you see on the road, take it to government owned, you can go home with it. That is why when you throw your things out in America, your landlord throw your thing outside, people will come and pick them home, and you have nothing to say. You drive motor, your motor break down from middle of the road.
All right. Zion calls back. All right. That's a network issue. Service provider. No, it's not our fault there. Apologies. All right. 08090306416 08090306416. We'll talk about emergency services. And like I said earlier on, yes, there is none. Yeah, none. Very, very, very few cases. People have called for ambulance services who were not responsive. I know at one point in time, I think was that the orderly administration, or I think was it the first term of the Nyesom Wike administration. There used to be an ambulance, or there were ambulances at certain, or see Rotimi Amechi's. I can't remember, but I know at one point in time. Please, those of you who have great memories, please remind, so I don't be seen to be misleading the public. But I do know at one point in time in this River State, in this Port Harcourt, there were ambulances stationed right at some of the major junctions, so that if there was an accident, the idea was if there was an accident or a medical emergency, these buses, these ambulances, right, would be the first responders, all right, and then they would take the person to a government-owned institution, and then they receive treatment or whatnot. Payment can come later, but I don't quite remember how the plan was structured. But Rivers people, Port Harcourt people in particular, saw those buses. Talking about the ambulances. So please remind me. I think it was the Nyesom Wike or Amechi administration, right? I think it was one of them, right, that had that service, but they're no longer there. Unfortunately, they're no longer there. But the fact of life is, emergencies will occur, and like Ivy said, what if it happens to his family? Who do they have to call? And sadly, that is the reality that most Nigerians are facing today. By the time the emergency is passed, everybody's shouting government. But as at the time it's happened, who do you call? So if there was a service provider, let's say Jude Opens Emergency Services Limited, incorporated 2024. Our services include helping you get away from the road when your car breaks down. You call us. You pay a token. Like I said, that particular service for vehicles is paid for. People subscribe to it in the EU and the UK. They subscribe to it. But I don't know if there are those private services when it comes to burglary, fire, or even road traffic accidents. My name is Jude. We'll be back after the break. It was the latter part of the orderly tenor and Amechi Feston. I saw those ambulances from Hector. Hector, thank you very much. So, yeah, my memory is not that bad, right? Just can't remember the specifics of that conversation. So, once again, should you subscribe for emergency services? The first caller, Zion, said no, he wouldn't because it's meant to be government's job. I agree. However, the subsequent governments and previous governments rather have, at least not to the extent where people have faith to say, okay, we're going to call this particular number and the ambulances will come and rescue us. Or, like we have a lot of, and we've had in the past, fire outbreaks. A lot of the times you keep hearing, oh, please save this number. Is Shell Fire Service, is Aji Fire Service, is Total Fire Service. What's the State Fire Service? And the only reason why these things happen is because the state doesn't have one, or at least they're not fully functional. Let's better put it, please, so that I don't be sanctioned for giving out false information. Yes, they have, but it's not fully functional. Please. So, what next to do? Would you rather your building burns? Would you rather your child, gets to lose a limb? Or would you subscribe for an emergency service that will come meet your child or meet you and your business at the point of its needs? 017-923-0002, 017-923-0003, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. All right, please, once again, don't call the WhatsApp number, just call us on the regular lines, which are 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0007. 92.3, good morning.
Yeah, Mr. Jude, I reconnect.
All right, let's hear from you.
It was in Odili's era. You have those ambulances littered in Port Harcourt environs. And the River State then also have an emergency number, 112. I remember that. If you call in, even your phone without SIM card, call into that line, the River State government will respond immediately. That was that time during Peter Odili. So what happened at the long run? Is it this discourse you brought this? Which should also shape our voting pattern. This is just a government policy, and all these things will be put in place. It has happened just one night. Neighbor, fire, they are banging at my door. I have to bring a extinguisher to go and off the fire. Oh, neighbor, come, my wife, come carry us to hospital. Now me. It's only happen frequently. Our picking, that night I'll drive them to the hospital. Normally, should I be the one?
So what if you're not around? That's the question.
Exactly. What around? There was even a time I have to tell some youths, but in Mecca now go learn how to drive motor. For these reasons, normally it's the government that would provide all these amenities. When there is emergency, fire, health, accidents, they call on the government.
Fine, but Zion, sir,
it is a toll.
We don't have it. We don't have it right now functioning. So in the interim, what do we do?
If I bring that business, will you pay me?
That's the question.
Your fire, the cash. You call me, I carry my truck, come to go off your fire. Where will you get the money to pay me? Won't you tell me you understand now? Fire don't burn, I suffer loss. So won't you come ask me to be pathetic about you with you?
But that's why it's
Sympathize with you.
that's why it's a subscription. You pay before it happens.
Oh, how many insurance people how many of us they apply for insurance here?
Okay,
Even health insurance, we don't.
Leading to the insurance conversation that we'll have next week. All right, Zion, thank you very much. Let's get to the headline news, shall we? I'm on Hello Port Harcourt. All right, and I would like you to join in the conversation. We're talking about emergency services, and I asked the question: should you subscribe to an emergency service provider? What that means is, let's say Jude opens a company, and my company, we tell you that, look, if you call us, all right, when your car is broken down, we'll come and get your car for you any time of the day. All right, we'll come and get the car for you. Obviously, you have to subscribe, and by subscribing, that means you have to pay maybe a monthly service charge. All right, the same thing goes for, I don't know, fire. Now, the reason why I'm using accident and fire, sadly, is because these are very common scenarios in this part, and unfortunately, most of these things don't get to be addressed as quickly as they possibly can. If you have an accident and you do not have well-meaning Nigerians who are there at that moment, who probably have good sense or maybe some first aid training, you probably will not make it. Unfortunately. All right, and so people are used to calling police. I'm very sure some of you have police numbers, the police control room numbers for Rivers State. I'm sure you do have. But what if, heavens forbid, no, not heavens forbid, because it happens to everybody, death comes to us all. What if your wife suddenly takes ill at 2 a.m. in the morning, and when she say, oh, my husband, my head is aching me, she slumps? Who do you call? Assuming you don't have a car, assuming you do not have a fancy hospital that you have been registered to, assuming you live, I don't know, an hour away from University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, or you even live an hour and a half away from the River State Teaching Hospital, GRA. Assuming all of these things are on your table, on your plate, what do you do? So, in that space, it may look like, man, maybe paying somebody money once in a while is not a bad idea. Or is it?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Alright, on WhatsApp, Ernest from Woji says emergency numbers are not meant to be more than 3 in the same climb. But in Nigeria, it's always 11. Well, not always. If you listen to the first caller, he did mention here in Port Harcourt the time was 112. I don't know if that still exists or if it's still active, rather. But yeah, anyway, so that you can dial fast in case of emergency. The budget that's the New York budget for fire service, you can use it to compare some Nigerian state budget. Yet, in this climb, people praise people they elect into office for doing absolutely nothing. Maybe the man who constructs roads and pays them 100k for Easter. Ordinary fire service emergency number, we don't know. These, NS says, these are basic things. Yeah, we know they are basic, but since it's not here, what do you do? What's the alternative? You see, that's the real issue, right? What is the alternative now that what is appropriate is not obtainable? What is desired is not here. That's the real issue. Good morning, Jude. A few to drive all the way back home to get my wife. It was the scariest day of my life. And then, as you were talking, I'm thinking, what if there were emergency services that could have come, picked my wife, and taken her with the ambulance sirens to the nearest hospital? Wouldn't that have saved me the stress, or even saved my wife the tension she went through trying to give birth to our child? If there is such a service, I will pay for it. It's very easy to say you pay maybe because you have the money. And no, I'm not chiding you. I'm not making fun of you. I'm not trying to, present you as bourgeois, right? But what of those who don't? Let's take a look back at some of the fires, very, very terrible fires that have happened in in Port Harcourt, next in the past year or two. There was one in D-Line. Obviously, some of you remember the Kaduna Street fire, where at the popular, in quote, fruit garden market, that happened, right? The fire at the jetty. Imagine these places I just made mention of. How many people do you think in these areas would be able to afford these services if they were to pay for it? How many? 017-923-0002, 017-923-0003, 017-923-0002, 08179230003. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416. Good morning, Mr. Jude. If we have outsourced security, a very sensitive aspect of our collective lives, to untrained individuals, many whom we do not even know their current lifestyles, how much more their past lives, what's the fuss about emergency? Which even in developed countries are sometimes insufficient. If they would be very efficient and would not allow their Nigerianness to spring up in their business, I would consider it. And if when it is available here. But Mr. Jude, do we currently have such in Rivers State or any state? Any ideas how they charge? Like how much to quench a fire? How much to ferry a pregnant woman to the hospital or an injured child in a school? So many questions in my mind. Text is sending that from Oyigbo. Well, text, not that I know of. All right, once again, not that I know of. But yes, I think your point is very well passed. You know, talking about outsourcing security to untrained individuals. Almost every estate I know these days has, you know, some untrained person in uniform as security guard or some local vigilante, you know, in those places. You know, text makes a very valid point, you know. But yeah, text, I don't know if there are any such services right now. But he says, if we can outsource security, then he will do it. Would you? Good morning, Jude. Whilst this sounds like a great idea, the question you have to ask is, who are going to be regulators? In the US, for example, a lot of people don't know that there are voluntary fire service fighters and also private fire service fighters. The state and even local governments in those areas have their own fire service teams. But like you said, sometimes these people may not be close enough to a particular area. That's where these private firms come into. And yes, they are paid. How are they paid? A lot of them are paid as subcontractors to the government. Oh, really? Hey, Jude, you learn something every day. Is this true? I need to read that up. But, okay, look, if you listen to us right now and you are somewhere in the US, maybe New York or Delaware or Houston, I don't know, and you're Nigerian, right? If you have any information about this, please do help us with it. Those private fire firms, do they make money because they are, in quote, subcontractors to the government? That would be very interesting. Ibiso is on Odeley Road. Ibiso, good morning to you, please. Hello, Ibiso, good morning.
Yeah, Jude, good morning once again.
Good morning, please.
Yes, about the fire service you are talking of in the US. So I normally said, before they make all that things, the masses, as some people are doing it free, they've already put everything in the system. That if any fire service is occurring anywhere and they are going, they will go there and do perfect work. But here in Nigeria, Jude, go to our major markets in Rivers State here. Are you saying fire station? The government is supposed to have, like, I live in Jos. Terminus Market, they have fire service stations there. You see like 4 trucks in Terminus Market.
When were you in Jos? Where were you in Jos? When?
Come and support them. That 4 fire trucks start their work there. But here, go to my own market, no fire service. Go to different markets, you don't see such thing. And when the used to happen, by the time you say sheriff should leave where they are to come to that place, and with the hold up and the path road, damage will happen. And the local government now supposed to wake up in different areas, put this emergency things on ground, like the ambulance, the firefighters, you know. So when once the happen, before the main people come, this will help the situation.
First aid.
That's my own take, my brother.
All right, Ibiso, thank you very much. But you didn't answer the question. Would you pay if there were services available? If there was a private entrepreneur somewhere who says, you know what, I'm going to open Jude's company for fire and emergency services. Call us. We have an agreement. Maybe you pay like 2 or 20,000 naira, every month, for subscription. So that in case it happens, we'll come and meet you first. We'll first be there and help you. But if it doesn't happen, well, anyway, it's our money, it's operational cost. But if it happens, we'll come and carry you. But if it's now more than our power, we'll now refer you somewhere. They have those kind. They will give you all those details. Would you pay? Should you even subscribe to it? I remember once again Zion saying, no, you wouldn't, because it's the government's job. If you do that, you are absconding, or you are excusing the government from its roles. But like Tex said, look, we are already outsourcing security. What's left? Really? If we could, and we have, what's left? What is left? 92.3, good morning.
Hello, good day.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you, Jude. My name is Barry and calling you from Ikoku.
Welcome, Barry. Go on, please.
Thank you. My take on this is that the major challenge we have in this country is the absence of regulation. There are beautiful services that, if they are well thought out and arranged, it can help lives. Issues of emergencies is not something that should be left in the hand of only private service provider alone. There's supposed to be a partnership between the government, because there are services they are supposed to provide. Okay, so now they are not on ground to do that. So they partner with the private service provider so that the cost of that service will be reduced.
Okay, fair enough.
And also, they will now regulate the services. Beyond regulation, there will be enough avenue for public enlightenment programs, keep the people informed and all that. That's why we are suffering.
Okay, but would you subscribe to such a service if it was available?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, Barry,
yes.
Thank you very much for sharing your views with us this morning. Says he would. It's difficult. Once again, my heart, goes out to all those who have lost family members, friends in some road traffic accident that could have been remedied if they had emergency services available. Jude, I had expected that by now the state would have been zoned with services of the fire service. Well, they are. There's a fire service, federal fire services for this area. Yeah, they are. But many of them don't have good quality trucks. Many of the trucks are bad. And many of the staff members are like in their 50s and 60s. That's another problem. Just saying. Jude, good morning. My question is this: should men play the role of Voltron in the country where there's a government? Okay. If you don't get the reference, Voltron is a fictional character It's a robot made of 5 lions that defends people. In fact, defending the planet. So what this person is asking is, should men really be doing this? Should they really be doing? I was about to call police just now.
Why?
The way you just enter here, I look back. I was scared for my life.
I don't understand. What did you do? What are you guilty of?
Yeah. So Denise is here, guys. So Denise, very quickly, all right? Would you pay for emergency services if you had the money?
Would I pay for emergency services?
Like, will you subscribe for a service to come to your house? Like, say maybe your baby's sick, or maybe when your car breaks down. Would you pay for such a service?
Well, if there's no other option, why not?
Well, for many Nigerians, there's no other option. They can't call fire service when there's a fire. I think it's only the police numbers that they have stored somewhere, but
A Nigerian info number.
A Nigerian phone number, apparently. Anyway, well, Denise is here. What are we talking about today on the sunny side?
Education, the financial burden.
Ooh.
Seeing that the children are now bearing it.
Okay.
Imagine you send a child to school and the child is messaging people on social media asking for balance of their fees.
Wow.